Joining us now is Derek Lavassuer, and he is running for U.S. Senate. He's challenging Susan Collins in a Republican primary there. He is a Trump supporter, a blogger, a former police officer from Fairfield, Maine, and who said in a Facebook post that he, a couple months ago in March, that he's going to run after Collins joined 11 other Republican senators to oppose Trump's border emergency declaration. And he will be challenging Susan Collins. He's got an uphill battle, but we'll hear what he has to say in Maine. And he's with us now. Hey, Derek, thanks for being with us.
Hey, John, thanks for having me on your show.
All right, so Derek, everybody's writing your candidacy off like Don Quixote-ish, like you're going to get 20% maybe, and you had some incident at a wedding reception when you were in law enforcement. They say you're not going to raise any money, and Collins is going to get 70%, and who cares? Tell us why you think this is a serious challenge.
Well, just to go to the situation that you're talking about, like touching base on an incident, I have had a teenage daughter. She's now 22 years old. But, almost 8 years ago, there was an incident where we're at a wedding reception and some young men were intoxicated and decided to be a little bit inappropriate. And I'll never, ever apologize for defending my daughter. Making a situation, maybe making some poor choices along the way in the way that I did it, but I'll never apologize for defending my daughter. That's the situation that you're talking about, that people are saying is going to, discredit me. But where we're striving right now and where things are going very well is amongst Republicans. I'm in a Republican primary, doing very well. We've been polling internally, calling Republicans, talking about the issues. I'm a pro-life candidate. Susan Collins is pro-choice. Continues to vote 95% of the time with NORAL Pro-Choice America. She votes 77% of the time with Planned Parenthood. She's funded by both NORAL Pro-Choice America and Planned Parenthood. Like, this isn't part of our platform. And I can honestly tell you, as somebody who's just been a blogger and a guy who just really wanted to help candidates get elected, my intentions were to help Senator Collins get elected again. Mm-hmm. But as I dug deeper, I'm new to politics. I'm about 2 years new to politics. As I started digging in and realizing she didn't represent our platform, she doesn't represent who we are. And then to find out that she didn't vote for our president in 2016, the leader of our party, mm-hmm. and that she can't endorse him for 2020, I can't afford not to run. I can't afford not to expose that we don't even have a real Republican representing our state, but yet we continue to fund her. We continue to send out our grassroots to work for her, and she doesn't want to represent our values. So I've been going around to counties and the county committees. We have 16 here in the state of Maine, and the support that I'm getting is overwhelming. It's unbelievable. We are raising money, not at the speed of Senator Collins, but we are raising money. I was with Hancock County Republicans last night, and out of the whole committee that was there, we got support, a written support, pledges from every single person there except for one. We've been to Oxford, Lincoln, Somerset, and we're heading to Kennebec. Those are all our counties. And they're continuing. The support that we're getting is overwhelming. So I really believe we'll have no problem winning this primary. Mm-hmm. My fear is that Senator Collins will do so much trying to damage me because she's really just part of the leftist crowd when it comes to being against our president, doing everything to block border security, to bring in red flag laws. You can sit there and look at her base views, the biggest principles for conservatives. She's against all of them. She's not doing anything to help our party. So as I'm going around, these are the issues we're hitting on. We're going to win this, but I think she's going to try to do so much damage to me as a conservative on these principles, not realizing that I'm also a liberty person, meaning that I don't believe in taking away people's personal liberties. I think I'll do well with the independents and unenrolled here in the state of Maine, because I think as a conservative, it's most important that we keep our taxes low, that we keep the Constitution pure, and then we fight for everybody as an individual.
What about the fact that Susan Collins voted for Brett Kavanaugh, and a lot of people were with Derek Lavassuer? He is challenging Susan Collins in the Republican primary, which will be when is that, May or
June of 2020?
June of 2020. He's a big underdog. But a lot of people like me look the other way on Susan Collins because of her, not only her Kavanaugh vote, but her passionate floor speech that many of us think really is what nailed it for Kavanaugh. She didn't shy from that. And even though she couldn't bring Murkowski from Alaska with her, Murkowski basically didn't vote, so she wasn't a no. A lot of people think that was the key vote that Collins had, and so we're willing to overlook a lot based on that. How do you respond to that?
Well, I agree with you on the Kavanaugh vote, and her floor speech was probably the best floor speech I've heard in my lifetime. I have no problem giving her credit where credit is due. But one vote for a judge, she just voted against a pro-life judge simply, and her statement to the press was because the judge's views on being pro-life. Like, if we can do one thing, and I'm sure from your views listening to your radio show, I believe you're a pro-life guy, and if you could save one life, and our party chair here in the state of Maine said, Derek, and this is just me as a blogger, she was talking to me saying, if you could do anything, what would be the thing you'd want to do? And I said, if I could do anything politically, I'd want to save a life. And I was referring to, in 2011, I won an award, the Life-Saving Award here in the state of Maine. As a former deputy, I had the honor of saving someone's life, giving them CPR and having that opportunity to actually watch life come back into a body. It changed my personal views at that point on life. And I feel like if we can save one, if I can even sway Senator Collins to come back a little bit, stop funding so much on abortion, sending federal money to Planned Parenthood, we need to do what we can to reel in our politicians. I'm not a politician. I'm a farmer. I'm a construction worker. And I'm just a simple guy trying to make things happen, to try to make things work. And that's part of the reason why, guys like us or ladies that want to run that are just common people, we have a hard time getting funding because we don't have all the connections that these elitists have. Senator Collins has spent almost her entire adult life in the public sector. She hasn't worked, we have to go punch a clock. We live paycheck to paycheck. She has no idea what that means. We need more common people running for office, and we'll have more common sense legislation. So, yes, I appreciate her vote in Justice Kavanaugh. I think it was historically, I think in time, it's going to prove to be one of the things that saved our country for another generation. But her continuing, to fund Planned Parenthood and to, fight for those values, that's going to hurt our country in the end. It's allowing us to sit there and accept moderation and killing our platform, and it's just going to make people run further left.
Even if you do win this race, say you upset her, and I think there's another candidate in there, right? So you've also got the problems of splitting the vote, Derek, right? There's another anti-Collins candidate in there. So let's say you do win the primary.
No, there's not effectively right now. There isn't a third candidate yet.
So it's just somebody talking about it, but I think there was somebody that's exploring it, right? But it's just right now you versus Collins. So if you do win, Maine not really looked upon as a conservative state. You'd be running as a Trump conservative. Trump didn't carry Maine. He only carried the one congressional district. So a lot of other people say yes. So Derek wins, Collins loses, and the seat goes blue. The Democrat will win. They'll beat you because it's not a red state. And so why would you give up somebody that votes for you 35% of the time for somebody that votes for you 0% of the time? Respond to that, Derek.
So here's where I'm at. We're losing Maine slowly. Look at our state. We're run by the Democrats have our House, our Senate, and our governor's now a Democrat. We're getting every poor piece of legislation crammed down our throat because we've been complacent with electing senators and electing people to office that are moderate because we keep saying that's all we can have in the state of Maine as Republicans. We've lost our values and lost our platform. We stopped fighting. And here's the other part. We've become a party of no. We don't have solutions. We just simply say no. Like, no, we don't want to be pro-choice, but why? And we don't talk about, and we can sit there and talk about life and everything like that, but people's morals aren't on the same playing field. Everybody has a different morality. So there needs to be options for people. And I'm not against, people say there are good taxes and bad taxes. I absolutely believe that. And I believe we can spend the money that we've left on a tarmac in Iran. We could spend that on our own people, and we could give it to mothers that are willing to keep their children. We could be spending the money that we've been spending on foreign wars to mothers that decide to keep their children. We could be taking the money that we have from the 144,000 illegal immigrants or those seeking asylum coming to the border. All the money we're spending on them, we could take that from mothers that'll keep their children. There's so much we can do, and I honestly believe I have a great message for the general election. So people who, are afraid that I can't win the general election, I think some of the endorsements I get socially will help push me over the top. Socially, and this is where, some conservatives say I'm not conservative enough. But socially, I know I'll have endorsements in the general election that would put me on the same playing field as Senator Collins. My only difference, the big difference, is that I do support Trump's policies with America First policies. I support Trump's policies with border security. And I really want our country to succeed. And we're not conveying that message well enough as Republicans here in the state. We hide from it. And I don't think there's anything wrong. And President Trump only lost the state of Maine by 23,000 votes. We only need to flip 11,501 votes for President Trump to take this whole state. We can do that if we actually fight. We've lost our fight. We're known as patriots up here with Patriots Day. But we're losing our level of patriotism and fight. A patriot is one who loves his country, his or her country. We're losing our fight. I've only been in politics for 2 years, but I can tell you for the rest of my life, I'm going to fight for these principles.
Well, Derek, I'll tell you this: if you were to be the nominee, I think you would be helpful in the Trump campaign for trying to win Maine, where I think Susan will run against him in order to beat the Democratic nominee, who right now, if I had to predict it, is going to be very liberal, progressive Betsy Sweet that finished third running for governor. She's likely to be the Democratic nominee, and I think you would have a tougher time against her than Collins. But if you're a Trump supporter and saying to yourself, how do we put Maine in play? You're not going to put it in play with Susan Collins because she's going to run away from Trump to get reelected. And so she's not going to be helpful just because she doesn't really believe in a lot of his policies. And this is not a dig on Susan Collins. I like her. She's a fine lady, and I respect her Kavanaugh vote, and I respect her, period. But just from a pure selfish standpoint, I want to see Trump get reelected. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm hoping to be his chairman of Virginia again in 2020 like I was in 2016. I think if the Republicans here renominate Susan Collins, as much as I like her, they can basically mail the state in to the Democratic nominee. You're not going to win it because the person the Susan Collins is going to run away from Trump. And doesn't mean she can't win. It doesn't mean she isn't a good person. And doesn't mean that I don't like her. Nothing to do with that. Just reality. You need somebody in there running for Senate that's a Republican nominee who's going to run with Trump and be advocating for his policies and take a shot to win the state. I'd rather take a shot to win Maine with Derek Lavassuer than guarantee that I'm going to have Susan Collins back in the Senate and it might turn blue. I'd rather take the shot and win Maine with Derek than I would ensure that the seat stays in Mitch McConnell's hands with Susan Collins. I'd rather roll the dice. Whether Collins wins or loses, it's not going to matter to America, all right? I mean, she's a nice lady. She has one vote out of 100, whatever. She'll have a good vote and a bad vote, and you'll be happy and then you'll be sad or whatever. But Trump doesn't get reelected. The bottom falls out of the country. All the policies that we have go away. So if you've got to make a bet here, I'm going to bet on Derek, even though I think 50-50 he doesn't win the seat if he's the nominee. I got a better chance of carrying Maine for Trump, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm going to get somebody up there who's going to be defending him rather than running away from him. Derek, does that make sense?
It does, and I can tell you that that's my heart and that's my passion. Is I want to keep President Trump our president. And we need 4 more years of these great policies. We need 4 more years of him. Even if we lose Senator Collins' seat, it's likely we'll keep the Senate 51-49 from the recent polls and the way everything's looking. We may even do a little bit better. But even if we lose our seat, it looks like we'll keep it 51-49, and we'll keep a great president, one of the greatest presidents in our lifetime.
Well, good luck, man. Good luck. Now, if people want to get more information, where do they go?
DerekForSenate.com. Or they can go to Derek for U.S. Senate on Facebook, but DerekForSenate.com is our website, and we'd love to have you check it out, visit it, and help us get there. We definitely need funding if anyone's available for funding and helping President Trump win the state of Maine.
All right, man. Keep fighting for what you believe in. I respect what you're doing. And again, I mean, I have a lot of respect for Susan Collins. She's a really nice lady. She's really smart, and she also believes in her set of principles. And she's probably likely to win re-election if she gets renominated. But if she does get renominated, Trump is not going to win Maine. So I'd rather
Recent polls show Senator Collins at 42% statewide in the state of Maine. She dropped 17% in the past 3 months.
Yeah,
she's going to lose the state. Regardless, if I beat her or don't beat her, she's going to lose the state.
Well, she might, but she certainly isn't going to win the state for Trump. And I think he would definitely be helpful. But I got to go, man. Hey, Derek, good luck. I'm out of time. John Fredericks Radio Network.